If you get proficient at that, money will never be a problem. Money will never be a problem. I promise you that. People want to participate in deals that make sense.
My question is, how do we know when we find a good deal, if it's a good deal or not? And when do we start looking for money to fund it?
It's always better, in my humble opinion, to have an idea of where some money could come from. But I'm gonna tell you right now, good deals always raise money. Good deals always find the money, right? So the first part of your question was phenomenal, Sonya, about how do I identify what's a good deal? Because if you get proficient at that, money will never be a problem. Money will never be a problem. I promise you that. People want to participate in deals that make sense. I don't care how much you got the gift of gab, what type of bravado you got. Like, you could talk people till they blue in the face, and you may even convince a couple to make the bad plunge with you. But the reality is, you find good deals, the money will find you, because there's other investors. So when they say your network is your net worth, well, that's a quintessential example of that. Because even if you don't have an investor, if you're in a network with people that have investors and you got a good deal and everybody can figure out how do they mutually benefit from that, then you're going to find the money. Like, the money is always found if it's a good deal. Okay. How do you identify if it's a good deal? You got to get really good at reverse engineering. Okay. It's something that we teach in the program, which is essentially getting super solid on identifying comps and ARV, right? And not even like realtors think. Realtors look at value in a different way as well. We don't look at value that way. We don't take the average of, the square footage of 3 different properties. You know why? Because ain't nobody buy an average of those houses. They bought 3 different properties. But essentially, you got to get really good at identifying comps, ARV, right? And then understanding what your cost of capital is, getting rid of that, getting really, really good at honing in on your rehab costs, right? Going through and understanding, how to analyze a property, knowing what, a roof will cost you, right? And how to calculate that, what's the price per square foot to paint the interior of a home? Y'all got the bonus gift. It's in there, right? Y'all got the bonus gift that got those details in there, right? To give y'all a good baseline to be able to hold contractors accountable. And then eventually you will have it down by memory. I could walk into a property and in the first 3 minutes essentially come up with a rehab bid that's probably within $5,000 of my contractor. I could do the same thing from home on the computer, provided I got photos. So you got to get really good at that, right? Run reps, get good at that. And then figure out how to come up with your minimum return on investment, right? And that's going to be different for everybody. We have certain standards that we use internally, that I recommend to the students to make sure we insulating ourselves in every environment, and so you got to figure out what's your minimum thresholds, because if you're doing deals that have, say, 10, 15% margins, well, if something shifts in the market and all of a sudden, the market go the opposite direction and we lose 10%, now you on the fringe of possibly losing money on that deal. So where are you comfortable with your minimum return on investment being to allow you to cushion that if the market is sliding and you need to quickly get out of property, you could do a quick discount and still remain whole, So it's all strategic, right? But essentially, figuring out that piece and then figuring out, how to look at, how much your lender is going to give you versus how much you would need in the form of a partner, of an investor, of a gap funder. And then when you put all of that together, right? When you put all of that together, now you've effectively underwritten your deal. And that's how you understand if it's a good deal or a bad deal. And I know that was a mouthful, but it is a mouthful.
Do we only hire licensed contractors?
It depends on your market. It depends on the project. As I told y'all on Monday, nothing is all or nothing. I would never give y'all a nothing is all or nothing answer. You know what I mean? Because it's just not. And sometimes, I've worked with licensed contractors who were trash. They were the fastest way to me losing some money. And I've also had people that's been in the trades for 30, 40 years that don't have a license and not interested in ever having one, and they do great work. It's really about understanding who these people are, how to best hold them accountable, and basically every time you do business with a contractor, they're having a working interview.
Well, I had a real quick question for you, but when you were going down the list yesterday, active, passive, I got it. Trifecta, you said you list flips, you list wholesale, and then you list 15 cash flow. And I was like, I need you to evaluate on cash flow because I kind of was, I just wanted to make sure, because you made it look like it was different. So I just wanted to make, I need to know the true difference in true cash flow.
Yeah. So what I was referencing was so in the flip model, right? We were saying that we had an average. I think we said an average profit of 50K. That we would need to do 20 of them in a year in order to get to $1 million, right? And then in the wholesale model, I believe we use an average profit of 20K, and we said we need to do 50 of those to get to $1 million. And so then I showed in the trifecta where instead of doubling down on just one vehicle, you could use a combination of several, and you can do say 4 flips to garner you 200,000. You could do 6 wholesales that I think was like 150, and then you could do 15 cash flow properties that if they had $50,000 worth of equity in them, that you could build out a $750,000 portfolio by doing 15 of those cash flow properties, which just simply means going out and buying 15 rental properties.